Welcome to Tamika's Story Time. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't hit that subscription button, I encourage you to do so. And if you haven't hit that like button, please give me thumbs up and hit the notification so that you can be notified of the next video. Today I am speaking on a cautionary tale, a preventable cautionary tale on a young woman by the name of Tamara Cornelius, who was gunned down at the gas station by her ex, who was 14 weeks pregnant. And King of Prussia, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, April 14, 2022. Excuse me. This is my tea, my lemon ginger tea. And I like to put in my Live Good Super Greens. I encourage all who take in greens or do not take in greens to take in your greens. If you don't like to take it through vegetables, do it through your powder form. Super Greens, very good. Whole body cleanse, very good for mind, body, and soul. So, back to the story at hand. Tamara was a 31-year-old woman who was well established, secure in her life financially. She was a career woman. She had her own home, her own car, her own money. Okay? So we're going to be clear with that. This individual, her ex, was not in agreement of her going forward with the pregnancy for whatever reason. But he made every effort to try to talk her out of going forward with the pregnancy. And this woman made it clear that she was not going to terminate her pregnancy. This man made every effort by sending her countless texts when they arrested him, and when she, at the time that she was murdered, he was in her phone over text 100 times. That particular night, she finally gave in and met him at a public establishment, the Cheesecake Factory in King of Prussia, Philadelphia. And during the course of that encounter, they spoke on his desires of her just terminating the pregnancy. She was still headstrong on what her decision was, that she was going to keep the child and that she would not do so, what he was asking of her. And during the course of that conversation, things became heated and she walked out of the restaurant. Pardon me. I'm going in for a sip just to help me tell the story. Thank you for bearing with me. She left the restaurant before the meal even came out. So this is where the separation of them two came into play. She got in her vehicle and proceeded to go home. But before she went home, she stopped at the gas station. Well, needless to say, he followed her and pulled up to her vehicle, in front of her vehicle, blocking her from getting back in her vehicle to pull away. He got out of his vehicle, and immediately upon exiting his vehicle, he stood on the side in front of her and shot her to death, taking her life right there at the gas station. Jumping in his vehicle, going on about his business and stopping at a McDonald's drive-thru to get a meal. So this is how this story of this young woman, which is becoming all too familiar, like the videos that I've done previously, and it continues to go on. It's going on as we speak. It's going on from state to state. These younger girls, 29, this young lady, Derica Patrick in Chicago. My condolence and my prayer goes out to their family and her Tamara Canoya's family, and so many other young women who's being cut down just based on the decision that they're making to keep their child once they become pregnant. That's very alarming. Being a woman who wanted a child for many moons, many years. Okay, I wanted a child more than anybody, and on the face of the earth. If I got to tell it, yeah, I wanted a baby more than anybody, and I would have done anything to have one. And I didn't need them. Once that man served his purpose, no, he didn't have to stick around. That was the mentality that I had at the time that I was in that position, younger, as a young woman, wanting to have a child and wanting to be a mother. This is painful. It pains me to hear these stories repeatedly, redundantly, and so callously and carelessly. It's almost like it's people are becoming numb to this, hearing this, and it's like falling on deaf ears. And it's almost like a wall has been built up, to a wall against the emotional part of how to feel or how to react or think about a woman's decision to want to keep her baby or want to be a mother. That's a natural thing for a woman. That's the most natural thing for a woman, is to want to be a mother. So to destroy her for wanting that and choosing to keep her child, that's sad. But the saddest part is, why are you doing this? Why are these men feeling like, okay, if this is a life, is a destroyer of my life, instead of a building of their enhancement, if you will, in their life. This is a life, not a bullet. This is not a threat. This is a blessing. I mean, like, why are they not perceiving it as such? It could be the child support aspect of it, the financial aspect, the long haul financial aspect of it. I don't know, but it really gives no reason, no legitified reason to do that. I mean, you have other alternatives, and those alternatives should be considered. I mean, because when you take a life, and you're not just taking that one person's life, you're taking two people's life, whether you know it or not. You will be charged with double homicide. You taking a life. When you dig one grave, you might as well dig another grave, because it's just a matter of time before you will get picked up, before you will get caught. And if the authorities don't get you, again, like I say in all my other videos, karma. I'm a firm and adamant believer of karma. Karma has showed me. Karma has presented itself, displayed itself in various ways in front of me. Being a spiritual person, I know that karma is real, but a lot of people don't think that, and they don't believe it. You think that because you don't believe something, they won't touch you. Let me let you know something. Karma knows us all. It has no bias. It cares not who you are affiliate to, where you come from, and what your dreams and desires are. When karma comes to collect, it collects. And when it does very swiftly. It is on point. It makes no mistake. It gets you. So you have to consider your conduct and your actions, or your reaction to something, before you do that. Because whether you believe it or not, it's to be, doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. Some people in their mind think, okay, because that's not my belief, so that ain't going to happen to me. Okay, if that's what you believe, sure. You work on that. You walk on that. Let's see how far you get. Because life is going to show you something different. Karma, if you will show you better than you. It speaks. It's speechless, I should say. When it does speak, it's already too late. So when karma speaks, it's too late. So you want to do things Do things right. Think before you react. You have a choice before that woman has the choice. Men, you have a choice before the woman has a choice. Men, you have a choice before the woman has a choice. You can make the choice to protect yourself, release yourself, and you have control of that part. Once you decide not to control that part, then you automatically are letting that woman be in control. And if you can't accept the decision that she will or will not make, by all means, just protect yourself or keep yourself to yourself. Easier said than done. I understand. I was young, heated a moment. I know how I was. I know what I wanted, and you want what you want when you want it. I get that. I am not immune to that understanding, and I'm not immune to that emotion. But I'm telling you, you must stop killing, and you throwing yourself in. One thing the system is set up for, okay? The system is set up for is reactive, not proactive. But what is actually set up for is to take you in, okay? Once that crime has been committed, and sometimes you don't even have to commit the crime. You could just be in the wrong place at the wrong time for that system to swoop you up. And once you get mangled, once you get picked up in that system, that is a trail that never leaves you. That is like a ball and chain, like a ball that's you constantly lugging around. It's called the felony. It's called the problem. That's a real bigger problem than you having a child, a blessing. Do you know the courts, it can't make you pay what you don't have. The only thing they could do, if you got a job that's paying you $12 an hour, guess what? You're going to be paying $22 towards child support. That's nothing. That is nothing compared to what you can be paying. You're not a basketball player. You're not a multimillionaire where you're going to be looking at, oh, I'm going to be playing grandiose for so many months. And so, like, man, it go on how much you make. And it's a very small percentage of that, okay? And it all depends. And just so many men that is getting paid, that's pennies. That don't matter to a child. They want you. They want to see your face. They want to see your love. Children don't think about money. That's adults' problem. They not worried about that. And at the end of the day, for a child that could possibly be your savior in life, you don't know. None of us knows. We don't know, but yet we think we know. We think we got control. You know what? Somebody told me, and this always rings true in everything that I do, and before I say I'm going to do, or I'm like I got control of life, I don't have control of life, not even my own. If you want to make God laugh, tell him what your plans are. If you want to make God laugh, tell him what your plans are. That's the biggest joke to God. You have to go to God and say, if that's why you have some people that say, God's will, I'll see you again. God's will, I'll accomplish XYZ. Now, I can accept that because that's more reasonable. That's more humbling. That's a more humbling acknowledgement to the spirit. You're being humble in your acknowledgement. Like, I don't have control of this thing called life. But if God allows me another day to wake up, and he allows me to get to put one foot in front of the other, I plan on doing some things. I want to do some things. But I know that I can't do it without the authority of God and his approval. So be mindful. I think we need to tune back into the spirit, because I think that we all are just walking like clones. I mean, everybody's like, oh, that's a clone. They're being cloning this celebrity. They're cloning this. Well, it seems like there's a lot of clones running around in the street, because nobody has any emotions. Nobody has no feelings. Nobody has no compassion. Nobody has empathy. Nobody has nothing that is substantial relevance, if you will. It's empty. It's like you just dealing with a mass of flesh. There's no emotion behind that. The spirit is gone. The spirit is dead. It's like dead spirit individual. That's what clones are. It's no more than a dead. It's nothing. It's an empty. It's just a shell of that person. We all are spiritual beings. We're just in flesh. Once this flesh has been destroyed, your spirit moves on. Now, what direction your spirit goes in, now you determine that. So you need to acknowledge God and have a walk with God while you in the flesh. Because once you out the flesh, if you don't know who the Lord is, where you going? If you doing the devil's work while you in flesh, where you think you going? And you can offend him. People don't even know. You can offend God. You can offend the devil. That's your lowest. You can't go no lower than that. So if you offend him, only God knows what's really waiting for you. That's an extra spice of damnation that you wish put on yourself. Be conscientious of what you do. Have a spiritual walk with God. Because taking these women's lives, these young girls' lives, and these mothers away from their children, because these young girls have children, and just because they got pregnant with your child, you're going to take them up, you're going to take them away from the child they already have? How much sense do that make? That makes no sense at all. But again, you have to use that gun when it's all said and done. As many bullets as in that gun. And the moment you pull that trigger, you're going to be accountable for every bullet that hit an individual. And you might be accountable for every bullet that's in the chamber just because your fingers touched that gun. How about that? And it ain't always with the law. The law can only do but so much, and it's set up for its own reasons. It's set up for its own reasons. When you make the choice to seek and destroy, you talking on the spiritual realm. Now you done opened the spiritual realm to consume your soul. So what comes through that spiritual realm to consume your soul? If you've been doing dark, hatred, malicious, vindictive, spiteful, envy, all those negative demonic spirits that has taken full occupancy into your body, into your spirit, and has taken over your spirit of dark, all that darkness, guess what? You will be answering to those spirits. They will be coming to collect. The moment your body hit the ground, them spirits is up on you like a thief in the night. So just be conscientious, because it happens, and it's like it's constantly happening. It's a vicious cycle. You gunning down somebody, rather it be a female or a male, you gun that person down. It's just a matter of time before you're going to be gunned down. And if you don't be gunned down, you're going to be picked up. And if you picked up out in the street, God only knows what's going to happen to you behind the prison walls. Because there, you fair game. You would prey and predators. And that's all that's going to be. What are you going to be? And eventually, you're going to get got to. So, it's a vicious, endless cycle, demonic cycle. And the moment you realize that, the moment that we start acknowledging what exists out here, demons, demonic thoughts, demonic spirits, that is stopped. But when you remove God from the equation and you looking for good, there's no good. God must always be in the center of everything you do. Because guess what? If the absence of God is the presence of the devil, that's never going to change. The absence of God is the presence of the devil. I'll say it once, I'll say it twice, I say it all the time. You must put God back in the equation. You remove God, you will have mayhem, chaos, and turmoil. There is just no way of avoiding it. It is what it is. We must come to that understanding. We must come to that understanding. Not walk by sight, but by knowledge. Don't walk by sight alone. Okay? We must be wise. And wisdom comes from God. So in order for us to be wise, we have to stay connected with God. No, we ain't got to be God. We have to stay connected to God. There's no reason to avoid him, because you're going to have to see him. You're going to be accountable for all that you do. This is going to come back to you. So be familiar with God, because this life is just temporary. It doesn't even matter what you do in between. It matters, but it don't matter when it's time to meet your maker. Once you meet your maker, that's it. That's done. And you're going to be played back everything you did. And everything you did to help a person, everything you did to hurt a person. And I rather know that what I'm doing now is to help people. I don't want to hurt nobody. And if I hurt anybody, I do apologize greatly and sincerely, because I know how important that is. I don't want to hurt nobody, and I don't want to see people hurt. I'm sick and tired of people being hurt, and I'm sick and tired of hearing. I'm sick and tired of seeing it. I'm sick and tired. It's like ridiculous. We're losing so many our young brothers. If they're not being put in the dirt, they're being put behind bars. What kind of mess is that? I thank God, and I always wanted the son. I craved the son. Now I'm like, oh, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. I didn't have a son. I couldn't live with the fact of what his options are. They're few and far in between. They're going to be, because they're being preyed upon. It's a predatory world we're living in. And young black men don't stand a chance. So if you're a young black male running around with a gun and you taking people out for your own malicious reason, or you don't want her to have your baby, or you don't want him to get you, you don't want to get got, and all this, you got all these, you know, like, oh, I want to be perceived as a murderer. I want to be perceived as this. I want to look like a tough guy. Oh, I want to be it's just like, it's insane. The reasons can go on and on and on and on and on, but none of it makes sense. Absolutely none makes sense. There was men before you, and there's going to be men after you, and none of them had to kill somebody to be a man. Self-preservation. If somebody, by all means, somebody trying to kill you and they on top of you, by all means, you're supposed to. And you, the Lord can understand that. And anybody in between. That's self-defense. But if you cannot kill him, by all means, don't spare the life. The mercy you give, the mercy will be the mercy you get. Remember that. The mercy you give will be the mercy you get. And that's spiritual again. And you got people running, oh, don't talk about the spirit. And you're talking about the spirit, stay away from them, because that's no. You are a spirit. I'm a spirit. Every one of us is a spirit. And if you don't talk about, that's the reason, that is the problem today. We don't talk about the spirit, but we talk about every time somebody get killed. Oh my God, somebody got killed. And they was this, they was that, they was this, they was this. Yeah. And they was a spirit. Now, they was a good spirit. They were a nurturing spirit. They were a loving spirit, a forgiving spirit. Yeah. It's real talk. It's real. So, I say this man that she was dating, the man, to get back to Tamara Cornelius, this particular victim of circumstance of her own, just by wanting to be a mother. Her ex-boyfriend cut her down, Mr. Thompson. They picked him up. He's sitting in jail. He had priors. He was an ex-felon who shouldn't even had a gun. Now, he got more charges, and more worry than he got. He ain't no baby. He ain't no baby he got to worry about. He might be somebody else's baby, if you get where I'm going. But whatever. That's a whole nother story. And another person that gives that very well is the Dante Show. He gives that story on the prison life. You need to go check it out. I encourage all these little young boys out here running around, even the ones that's not running around and know a family member that's running around, show them. Go to Dante Show. He's very good. He's very transparent. He's thorough at what he do and what he say and how he deliver it. And you can learn. You can learn. And it could save your life before you even make that decision to do something. So I say go check him out, because he has the greater detail than I can give you. I can only speak on this side. On the outside, he speaks from the inside. So you go check him out. And everybody else that speak on the life of prison, where you're heading, or the barnyard, the graveyard. So that's one or two places. Why not enjoy life in between? Get yourself a job, get yourself a home, get yourself a family. That way you ain't got to be worried about knocking off people because they got pregnant. You can have that full understanding and transparency within your household. What you want and what you don't want. Y'all can work together collectively to make sure that happens, or don't happen for that matter. But that's something that you can definitely take heed to. And I hope that this was a blessing to you. I hope that if this wasn't something that was for you, that you can share it with someone else, that maybe it can bless someone else. I say ask that you be a blessing to someone else so that God continue to bless you. And please come back to me, because I have more blessings, more story time, more testimony, if you will, more cautionary tales, if you will, to share with you. And sometimes, and I do apologize for the aggression and assertiveness that I displayed today, and I'm giving to you today, because it's only out of frustration and love at the same time. Because I love my people dearly, man and woman. I don't want to keep seeing these young brothers go down the way they going down. It's just horrible. If they're not going down to jail, they're going down to the prison. It's not a place. Prison is a hellish environment, and I don't have to be in prison to know that. I didn't have to go to prison to know that. I'm not one that have to see things to be convinced. It's a hell on earth. I wouldn't wish nobody I love to be there. So anybody that you love, I'm sure you wouldn't wish them to be there either. So you would try to tell them and give them things and tools to help them and prevent them from going to that place. And that's all I'm doing here, during my story times. It's not just for the women. We women tend to know how to support one another. Men, on the other hand, y'all, it's a little scarce on that end. I do recognize that. The support system is not as strong and there and prevalent for the man and the males as it is for females. We as females, we tend to support each other and confide in one another and to help lift one another and build one another through our struggles. It's not always that way for a young man. He don't have no guidance. And if, God forbid, if he don't have no male role model, he doesn't have that way to go, that road to take. And he's feeling alone and trapped and against the wall and pressured. I get it. I do. I get it. Truly, I do. I get that part. And it's because that part, I get that my compassion in my heart is like giving you this, like any way that I can. I can only give you so much because I am not a man. And again, that needs to come from a man, and it's coming from me. And I'm trying to send you to, one young man, but there's also many males out there, that mentors, if you will, that give you a little bit more than I can give you, or the next woman. I don't know. I can't speak for anyone else, but I would say any way that you can get it, and especially coming from a male, seek out those ministers, those mentors, ministers, those a man of God. And you got those street men that just because they out in the street don't mean that they don't have a spiritual connection. Listen to the older men, the mature men that can actually give you something. Don't just look at, oh, that's an old head, that's back then, that's how I know. The world never changed. Everything is a rotating. Nothing's new under the sun. Nothing's new under the sun. It's just replaced with different faces. All this stuff that's happening ain't new. It's just a recycling of life. Life is a recycling thing. So, therefore, don't be so quick to dismiss the person because they're not in your age group. And those people that's not in your age group, trust you me, they have been where you are. So most of them have been where you are. If they out on them streets and they walking through those streets, they may not be doing it now, but that don't mean they haven't done it. So don't be so quick to dismiss them on their theories and what they have to say, their philosophical views or point of views, or what suggestions that they have to give you. I mean, we all have to think for ourselves, but we can all use a little bit of advice and support from one another. That's what we're here for, to support one another. That is what we're here for. We're not here to just get and take and take and take and take. What are you going to give? What are you going to give? And you can take, but you can't take it with you. I don't care how much you gain. You cannot take it with you. You're going to have someone to leave it to. And why not? Better the person to leave it to is your children, the people you love. Why not? So if you can use your life to help build someone, your community, do that. Don't be a harm to your community. Don't be a bondage of your community. Don't be a hindrance of growth in your community. Be a beacon of light in your community. If you feel like you got to be the protector in your community, if you will. You know, if you feel like you that bad or you have that much influence in your community, be a pillar of your community. You can do things outside of terrorizing your community and bringing down and harming people in your community, and people that look like you, that's basically, they don't even have to look like you. Don't hurt nobody, but we tend to hurt the people that look like us. So you have to start there. You have to start somewhere. Start there. Stop hurting the people that look like you, because we know you're not going to hurt nobody else. But stop hurting the people that look like you too, because just because you can don't mean that you should. Just because you can do something harm to a person, that don't mean you should. Yeah, you can go and harm a baby. Well, are you going to harm a baby? Because that's a reflection of what's in you. No. You're not going to harm a baby. Will you accept the baby being harmed? No. Most people with any ounce of logic won't see a baby be hurt. So, therefore, under that, just that common understanding or common sensibility, if you will, take that and keep that in your daily walk. That mindset. I don't want to hurt nobody, but I'm not going to allow nobody to hurt me. That's understandable. But if you put yourself in a position that you are who you are, and what you do is help people, I doubt if anybody going to be looking to hurt you. And if they do, they going to be hurt too. Okay? That goes without saying. Because it happens. You ain't even got to do nothing to be hurt. But surely if you do something to be hurt, you're definitely going to be hurt. That's just a given. And it's just the way that it is. I say, be blessed. God bless. Continue to look out for your girl. And I continue to bless you with more of more. Not more of less, but more of more. And I want you to bless me a little bit more by hitting that subscription button, giving me thumbs up, and hitting that notification bell so that you could be alerted for the next video. I look forward to speaking with you again. I say God bless and be a blessing to someone else. Peace.